Ladies and gentlemen, do you think Putin cares about wide-ranging sanctions? So Biden issues sweeping new sanctions against Russia. Ooh, I'm sure the Russian intelligence officials that helped write the Steele dossier and Putin himself, I'm sure they're all shivering and frightened, and they're just quivering in fear. Oh my God, this is going to totally prevent them from possibly invading Ukraine again and increasing tensions or elevating tensions. This is going to really protect other countries from Russian aggression. Wow, the Biden administration issued a wide range of sanctions. The sanctions target more than 30 Russian entities and include the expulsion of at least 10 individuals. No way! Oh my goodness, including intelligence officials and diplomats. You mean we expelled Russian intelligence officials from our country? Wow, that's really good. Why were they allowed in the country to begin with? The administration also issued an executive order barring U.S. financial institutions from purchasing ruble-dominated bonds. Very good. Wow, that's really going to prevent the Russian military and really going to help Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, how do I explain? We spent 4 years obsessing as a country, devoted to, the media, the Democratic Party, Hollywood, all of Twitter, social media, intelligence operatives did everything possible to paint Trump as a Manchurian candidate, a Putin puppet, somebody who got into the presidency by cheating. He was an illegitimate President Trump for 4 years. Every single day was hysteria. This apoplectic, seething, fuming, indignant, hysterical, paranoid reaction to everything Trump did. Oh my God, the Mueller probe was going to find out something. We knew there's something going on. We had the Steele dossier, we had Alexander Downer, and you had people indicted for, oh my goodness, lying to Peter Strzok, who basically helped James Comey cover up the numerous crimes of a wonderful Democratic candidate who lost to Trump. And it was just, there was no intent to have servers for 4 years. There's top secret intelligence on servers outside of the United States government, according to James Comey. But of course, nothing. I mean, foreign actors could have infiltrated those servers, but we don't know, honestly. But Trump, oh my God. And now you have tensions, elevated tensions with Ukraine and Russia. Russia might invade. And you have a terrible conflict there that's heating up. And then you have U.S. intelligence chiefs. We don't know Putin's reason for military buildup on Ukrainian border. Okay. Our wonderful intelligence community, as always, is at the forefront of what's going on from the from the Bay of Pigs to the Gulf of Tonkin to WMD to this. We just have the smartest people in the room protecting us and protecting democracy around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump is vindicated. Why? Because Democrats and Biden, you can look at Biden, sweeping new sanctions, does nothing to prevent Russia. Why doesn't Biden provide lethal aid the way Trump did? You remember when, President Trump provided arms deals, lethal aid. President Obama did not. I don't think Biden is doing that at this moment. Why doesn't Biden send a shipment, sign an arms deal, or just give military equipment to Ukraine right now? Oh, that's right. Because they were always bluffing and they were lying through their teeth the whole time. The Democratic Party in 2008 got into the White House with President Obama trying to foster a Russian reset with that big goofy reset button that Hillary Clinton and the Russian ambassador pressed or tried to press, and that was a debacle also. Then you had in 2012, the 80s want their foreign policy back. It was Romney who was the hawk against Russia. And now they're doing nothing. Trump is completely vindicated. Not only, and this is the interesting thing, they always weave and like combine every propaganda spin into their political endeavors. So they impeached President Trump. Why? They impeached him for holding up an arms sale to Ukraine until Zelensky investigated Biden. But Zelensky said that wasn't true. So President Zelensky of Ukraine stated that wasn't true. But they still impeached Trump anyway. Again, hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'm going to give you some context and nuance that's missing from coverage. Where is Biden? Where are Democrats? Where is social media? Where are the intelligence operatives? Where is James Comey and Clapper and Brennan, John Brennan? Why aren't they sounding the alarms of Russian aggression? Oh, that's right. Because they were pretending to be these cold warriors. Okay? JFK, if he were alive today, would laugh and would mock and would insult all the intelligence officials that were dreadfully wrong about Facebook ads, because there's zero evidence that Facebook ads swung any vote. And all the intelligence officials who, from WMD to Facebook ads, I mean, you're talking about JFK learned from the Bay of Pigs. And that's why he didn't listen to advisors when it came to the Cuban Missile Crisis, thank God, because they were telling him to invade Cuba. So who's another president that just didn't really care for the intelligence agencies? Oh, that's right, Trump. And so he's this despot and tyrant, yet he had the good sense to actually do what President Obama didn't do and what Biden isn't doing now. Why isn't Biden sending military shipments to Ukraine to protect them? Why not? They run on public relations and they run on media coverage. So media tones it down. The border situation is worse than anything that President Trump presided over. Everything's toned down. There's no outrage. There's no AOC looking at facilities and calling them, terms that she should never again utilize. Yad Vashem in Jerusalem had to refute AOC's revisionist claims, basically denial claims, but distorted historical claims. I wrote about that in the Jerusalem Post. Read my Jerusalem Post op-ed. It's on hagoodman.com. You could read my writing also against counterinsurgency conflicts. I have articles published in the Roanoke Times, the Jerusalem Post, The Hill. I was a contributor to The Hill, the Huffington Post, against counterinsurgency conflicts. Wars like Vietnam and President Trump. We should have learned the lessons of Vietnam as a country. President Trump negotiated a deal to remove Americans that forced Biden to accept the deal. Now he's prolonging it from May 1st. The deal was May 1st, 2021. We're going to withdraw Americans because of Trump. So, I mean, President Trump lives on. His foreign policy achievements were grandiose. They were fantastic. They were pretty amazing. Okay, he didn't destroy a country the way President Obama and Biden and Clinton did with Libya. Okay, nobody on the left is talking about all these enlightened, morally enlightened people. Okay, history will make a mockery of them because they don't know anything about history. You can look. Is there any outrage of President Obama turning Libya into a failed state? And if you say, well, there's context that's missing. He was doing it to help people. Did it help anyone? Because there's been 10 years of chaos and mayhem, and they destabilized the country, Democrats did, and turned it into a failed state. You can't do that and just, circumvent moral responsibility or, culpability. How do they do that? Oh, that's right, because it's media and the Democratic Party. Oftentimes, media nowadays run on pure public relations. When it comes to the crisis, the humanitarian crisis, these facilities are overrun. They're at they're over capacity at a far greater level than they ever were during Trump's administration. Where's the outrage? Where's the concern? Where's the moral grandstanding? Where's the soapbox in sermons and preaching from AOC and others? It's called hypocrisy. My God almighty, how difficult is that? It's so difficult it's so frustrating to like point this out, and people will say, well, so what? They did criticize the Biden administration. No, there's a difference between criticism and 24/7 paranoid, hysterical reaction to everything Trump does. So you're looking at two different reactions to Russia, to the border, these are situations, these are horrible crises that are taking place under Biden's watch, and he's failing on numerous accounts. Anyone he wants to raise taxes, and it's interesting too because leaving that aside, whether you think raising taxes is good for the economy or bad, it's not good for the economy when we're trying to rebuild the economy. It makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. And you look at the states with the greatest number of lives lost were Democratic-run states with Democratic governors. Not Trump's fault. You can't blame Trump for the failures of the Democratic Party. Sorry, Democrats and morally superior liberals. You can't blame Trump for your failures. You failed. Don't blame one man, who, by the way, had no authority to tell you what to do in your states. And then they go after, his pandemic response. Well, how did that affect Cuomo's response or Phil Murphy? How did Trump force Andrew Cuomo to put infected people into elderly care facilities? I don't think so. And what's Trump doing now to hurt national security? Or why is Biden simply engaging in sanctions, the same type of sanctions that Trump already engaged in? And Trump gave lethal aid. Biden isn't. If I'm wrong, let me know. They're hypocrites. This is going on right now. You would think that Putin is so afraid of Biden that he would never, ever, increase aggression towards his neighbors. You would think that they're so frightened of the Cold Warriors. The JFK Democratic Party, oh my goodness, they were tough on the Russians, yeah. Well, what's Biden doing? This completely vindicates President Trump. And you'd have to be a complete imbecile to think that Putin cares about what Biden's doing. Okay, Democrats lied for 4 years. If Biden has a higher approval rating than Trump, which they say he does, or his approval rating is going to be stable, or higher than Trump, it's because media is propping this man up. They are deliberate, maybe not deliberately. I wouldn't make that type of assumption. Oh my God, but it's interesting. There's a worse crisis at the border. Radio silence. No hysterical, apoplectic, morally superior, indignant reaction. And there's a worse crisis between Ukraine and Russia than at any point in Trump's administration, and radio silence on that too. So, when you don't get, engage in an onslaught of negative media coverage, blaming Biden for everything, investigating Biden, seeing that if he worked with Russian intelligence officials, it's like, if you didn't have every conceivable possible advantage, where would Democrats be right now? And still Trump runs the Republican Party, and they can't believe it. Oh my God, he's such a horrible person. It's like 74 million Americans know that media is in the tank for the Democratic Party. The people who don't know that vote Democrat. Historians, when they look at Trump's administration, oh my goodness, it's unprecedented. No, the media reaction, the intelligence opera, you name me a president that was investigated going into the White House. Never happened. Okay, they're the ones who broke norms. They're the ones who didn't engage in a peaceful transition of power. They investigated an incoming president based on nothing. Literally based on what Democrats purchased. Again, but you telling this to people, they don't even... It's like it goes in one ear out the other. They don't care. They would never allow a dossier to be purchased against them, ever. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Trump is pretty much vindicated. They're not doing anything to prevent or to stop Russia from engaging in its foreign policy towards Ukraine. Democrats lied for the last 4 years. Okay, and it was Trump who sent lethal aid, not Biden now. And you see what's taking place. there's numerous, tragedies taking place right now that they can't even talk about on YouTube because of the guidelines and policies. But Democrats are silent. And they're just focused on, don't use this word. This is pure public relations. I mean, the Democratic Party and Hollywood and liberal Democratic voters, they're basically like a giant advertising firm or just a public relations corporation. They work on image. They wake up every day and say, you think, is my image morally superior? They don't care about being moral, okay? Because being moral means being consistent. You also care when it's a Democrat in office. You also care just as much. Oh, but you don't, because suddenly all these people who were focused on Trump and the Constitution and our democracy and our fabric of our way of life. Suddenly, everything's fine now. It's worse now. It's worse. And it's so bad, media isn't even covering it. But you know what's taking place. There are more people, facilities are being overrun, and the stories that trickle through the media silence, it's like, oh my God, this is horrendous. The same tragedies are taking place, but worse. And you have Russia with elevating tensions, increasing aggression towards its neighbor, and Biden does nothing. Sanctions? Give me a break. That's not going to prevent Russia from doing anything. They were talking, they talked a big game for 4 years, and now we see that it was all lies. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.